think you're good, Juan.
You know who I saw at Mass the other day?
Who?
Kevin Sweeney.
I thought he was in like China or something.
Yeah, he's been in Korea.
Or Korea, yeah.
But I saw him at Mass on the Feast of the Annunciation.
Yeah?
And he just like, we waved to each other.
Nice.
But anyway, I think he's watching right now.
No way.
Kevin, yo.
What's up, Kevin? Hey, Juan, remember that you have your headphones has a mic on it.
Okay.
So don't, like, I can hear it, like, you know, you could hear that.
Just we can hear it, yeah, but still.
But the Facebook can hear it, right?
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah, say something.
Say something, I'm giving up on you.
Okay, tap your microphone. Yeah, it's not even programmed on there.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so, but don't remember that it's very distracting.
I'll just give you the 2-minute warning. And
Yeah.
Be quiet.
Okay. Oh, hey, Margot said she did hear you.
I can see that, people.
That's weird.
So, FYI, you can be heard, Juan.
That is weird.
No talking, Juan.
Hello, everybody.
Cheers, Pete. No. Jim Spencer says, "Do not tap, Juan."
I'll just follow orders.
I really do not understand how that's, because look, we have microphone 1, 2, and 3, and 3 is dead, and that's the one down there.
Mm-hmm.
His is not even on the system.
I don't know. Let's get going. Let's roll.
Whatever. Hey, scroll down.
Yes, Margot. He gives us a 2-minute warning.
Can you
because,
scroll down? Oh, that's just for that.
Because with him navigating our equipment, we can't actually see how long we have in between, or when the segment ends. So
yeah, because he's sitting in front of the computer.
So okay,
I've not yet developed X-ray vision.
Me either.
But I'm working on it.
How's it coming?
It's hard to tell.
It shouldn't be.
Well, sometimes you have breakthrougs.
Oh, okay.
And you don't realize all the progress you're making, and then you have this breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, let's record. Let's do this.
Warning. The Catholic Man Show contains high levels of manliness. It's simple, really. You either want to grow in virtue and holiness, or you want to be a
Start
sissy whiny
over.
baby. If you choose to move forward, grab
happened?
your whiskey glass, because
Why
the
is there
Catholic
two?
Man Show is starting right now.
It's actually not starting right now. He doesn't know how to stop it. You guys thought that we were starting? But we're not. We're not even starting yet.
No, what's that?
That was Juan got a little carried away. Or something did. Good evening, Robert Poole. Hey, Kathy.
Okay,
Great to see you on. I know it's starting on Bev Cam, Margo. That's our creative camera, Margo. That's like what we consider our creative cam. And so that way, like, you can see
What happened?
kind of the cool.
It just didn't start. I mean, you didn't.
All right, so I'll just click them both at once.
Yeah.
Are we good?
There's no two turned on here.
There should only be the top two.
I'm sorry. Mute that channel that says the Western intro on the Cubase.
That's what happened.
Yeah. Here I am, Eche Homo.
There you go.
Eche hombro.
Oh, are we speaking Spanish?
Hombro means shoulder.
Oh.
Is that really a word?
Hombro.
Eche shoulder.
What's up, Matthew? Hope you're doing well. I'm sure the weather's doing a lot better in Arizona than it is here.
Round 2.
Round 2.
It's not bad here.
Warning. The Catholic Man Show contains high levels of manliness. It's simple, really. You either want to grow in virtue and holiness, or you want to be a sissy whiny baby. If you choose to move forward, grab your whiskey glass, because the Catholic Man Show is starting right now. The Catholic Man Show contains high levels of manliness. It's simple, really.
Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. And I do mean welcome. I hope you can pull up a nice seat and a awesome whiskey glass, maybe a Catholic Man Show whiskey glass. A lot of people received new Catholic Man Show Glencairn glasses this week.
Yes, a lot of people could be breaking them in for the first time.
That would be epic to do that on, like, while we're recording on the show.
So epic. Hey, I have a good question for you.
Okay.
I was thinking about this today. Why is the word shepherd not pronounced shepherd?
Oh, with the PH?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Shouldn't it be shepherd? I mean, like, are rules just meaningless in the English language?
Yeah, the answer is yes to that.
Yeah.
To that question. Anyway,
I just thought maybe you'd be able to help me out there.
I'm sorry. I provide zero help.
Words are hard.
Words are hard. Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. I'm Adam Minahan, sitting here with David Niles. Dave, how was your week this week?
I'll do it. My week was, well, let me think about it.
Okay.
It was good. It was fair. Nothing exciting that I can think of anyway that comes to mind. But it was a good week.
I had an exciting week.
I almost always have good weeks, good days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just an optimistic person, you know what I mean?
In general. I had a very exciting week this week.
Do tell. Do tell.
My daughter turned 2. Anna Faustina turned 2 years old.
Indeed.
So that's pretty fun.
Indubitably.
She had a birthday party this weekend. She was very excited. She's like the happiest baby I think I know.
She's pretty happy. I'm like her step godfather because my wife is her godmother.
Yes, that's true.
So I'm like a step godfather.
Also, let me throw this out at you. See what you think about this.
Okay.
Haley's pregnant.
Yeah, dude. I know. That's awesome.
High five. Very nice. Very excited. So yeah, Haley is pregnant. So if you could keep us in your prayers, we're very excited to be able to welcome number four to this world. Pray for a healthy.
That's numero cuatro.
Cuatro. Yes. Yeah. Pray for a healthy pregnancy.
Don't say it like that. You sound ridiculous when you say it like that.
Oh, sorry.
It's quattro.
Yeah. Sorry.
Distance poor.
So anyway, keep us in your prayers. We're obviously extremely excited.
Through the intercession of
Saint Gerard.
Saint Gerard, yeah.
Yes.
You know, it's like when people have a cause going and there's like, hey, we're doing this through this intercession.
Right. Please.
Throw that out there.
Saint Gerard is my
he's
family's
patron
saint. So
he served you well.
He has. He's done very well. So this evening we're gonna drink. This is a cool bottle. This is a very cool bottle. So
let me look at it.
It's a Muirhead's Silver Seal Highland Single Malt Scotch Whiskey. It's aged 16 years, but on the bottle, read that.
It says Auxilio Dei,
which is with the help of God.
With the help of God.
So, put in that bev cam and we'll. I
just wasn't done looking at it.
So anyway, that's. I thought that was a pretty cool bottle. So let's try it. We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers to Jesus.
Cheers.
Auxilio Dei.
So I'll read the tasting notes as you drink, and you can tell me what your thoughts are. So the tasting notes is fruity overtones of summer rhubarb are the order of the day with the nose. I think that's a cool way of saying it. The order of the day.
Indeed.
Malt is the first in line, followed by some oak, spice, and creamy vanilla. The palate is walnuts, cigar boxes, and vanilla custard with a hint.
How can you put that on the... It's not the smell of cigar boxes, but it is the taste.
Yeah, with a hint of allspice, which whatever allspice is, besides the deodorant.
Yeah.
Or no, that's Old Spice. Sorry. A delicate and mineral lay finish completes this dram, is what it says.
Okay.
What are your thoughts of it?
Man, it's kind of it's a very good Highland whiskey.
On the nose for me, I get like green apple, citrus. I get a little honey.
To me, it kind of it's got that very standard Highland whiskey of it's very smooth and not. It's not very complex. It's not gonna offend anybody. You know what I mean?
No, it's not very complex.
But there's a lot of people out there who that's what they like. They like the smoothness of the drink. They like that it goes down easy. Maybe they had a hard day. They don't want a hard drink. They want something that is going to help them relax.
It's a very quick finish. It does not linger in on the mouth.
How much was it?
It was I believe it was about $50 for a 16-year. That's why I took the plunge and said, I think this is worth at least trying at a 16-year-old Scotch.
Sure. I don't know if this is true or not, but in my experience, it seems like longer aged whiskeys mellow out a lot of the flavors that you get, like smoky whiskeys. When I've had a 20-year versus a 12-year or just whatever, the older aged, this is what I'm thinking of is Lagavulin. I think I like the 16 more than the 21. Is it?
You've had the 21?
Yeah.
Wow. Was it awesome? Well,
yeah,
you said you're thinking 8 and 16, I bet.
8 and 16, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I like the 8 more than the 16. That's
really?
Yeah.
I like the 16 better than the 8.
That's fair.
It's more of a punch in the mouth.
See, I thought it was less of a punch in the mouth. Yeah. Interesting.
I am known as the tongue on the show, so you guys take that for what you want.
Okay. Yes, you are.
But this is a very, for it being aged 16 years, I would think that it'd be a little bit more complex than what this is. I think it would be a good whiskey to have on your shelf to break out with guys that you have over, discussing theology, maybe your men's group, just to say, hey, we're gonna have a 16-year-old Scotch together. If you would have thrown this at me and wouldn't told me what year it was, I would have said it was probably like a 8-year Scotch.
Yeah, maybe 10.
There's just not a lot of, but the presentation is awesome.
And I like the Auxilio Dei.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like the presentation of the bottle, the presentation, knowing that it's a 16-year-old Scotch, it is an A+.
Yeah. I will pay more for Scotch if it says something that gives glory to God on the bottle. Like, I will.
Yeah. I would rate this whiskey, if I had to rate it, I would say a 6.5 out of 10.
I was going to say a 6.
6.5 is what I was. So, anyway, Highland.
But for me, a Highland, I don't think I would ever rate a Highland Scotch as a 10 because it's not my brand. You know what I'm saying? It's just not what I like.
I think it would be tough. I don't even know if I've had a 10 whiskey. I've tried a lot of whiskeys. I don't know if I've ever I would rate one as a 10. I've had a lot of really good whiskeys.
Yeah, that's just risky policy.
Right.
Because does that mean, I guess you could have another one that's also a 10. One could be a 10 and that doesn't mean it's the best whiskey in the world. You know what I mean? It depends. Like divers in the Olympics, you can get a perfect score, but that doesn't mean it was the best dive that ever took place.
Right. So this is
depends on your scale.
Right. It's subjective, right? Yeah. It depends on what the scale is.
Yeah. But I'm just saying I would never give a Highland a 10 just because that's not my preference.
So Highlands are not going to be peaty for those who are not into the Scotch game.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a smoky. It's not going to be peaty. It's going to be a lot more honey, citrusy, shorter finishes. It'll be a little sweeter to the taste. A lot of Highlands are aged in sherry casks, so you're going to get the sherry notes to it, which is going to be the sweeter notes. Raisins is another common flavor within the Highlands, which Highland is just like the location of where it is in Scotland.
Right, yeah. It's more of the middle of the island, higher elevation. The water has different characteristics to it in that point, before it's made it downstream. I'm a big fan of the Islay scotches or Islay scotches is how a lot of people say them, but I've been told it's really Islay. They're there on the sea, so they kind of have more of a salty, peaty,
leathery.
You could make a peaty Scotch in the Highlands. They just don't. That's just not what they do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And this is a 40% alcohol by volume, so it's not going to have a strong alcohol bite. Typically, Highlands do not have the strong alcohol bite to them.
That's their characteristic is, if you're going to start drinking Scotch, you should start with a Highland because they go down real easy. They're nice to drink.
And if you wanted to add a little bit of water to these, it makes it even easier.
Sure.
So anyway, we actually interviewed Mark Gillespie. He does a podcast called Whiskey Cast. And he gave us kind of the Whiskey 101. So if you go to thecatholicmanshow.com and type in Mark Gillespie or WhiskeyCast, it'll pop up.
That was a good interview.
And we learned a lot.
From that interview, I now don't look down upon blended scotches.
We need to try to have another blended scotch soon. We haven't had one in a while.
I know. Was the green, Johnny Walker Green, is that the last one we did?
I believe so. That would be the last blended one we did, which I liked.
You know what? It was on sale at this local liquor store for $35 a bottle there for a long time. So I was buying it as much as I could. And I really liked it.
Real quick, we have about a minute left. Why are we drinking on air? I think that would be a good recap.
Because we're exercising the virtue of moderation.
That's kind of the
That'd
gist.
be the best reason, I would say.
Which we're going to be talking about virtue today. And actually, we're going to be talking about virtue and vice, specifically the capital vice of lust. But before we do that, we're going to get to the man gear when we get back. We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass. Hey, how'd you guys like that announcement on Facebook Live that my wife is pregnant?
I liked it.
That was pretty.
Are you asking me or the people watching?
The people watching.
Mr. Bullseye.
There's a lot of.
Hey Juan, can you see how this camera is not centered on us?
It's more of me and less of him.
Yeah, I don't like that.
This middle one right here, the closest one to you. No.
Don't do that. Grab the actual. Yeah, turn.
Yeah. There you go.
Just put. I want to be more in the middle.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who have.
Muy perfecto.
Who do not know that Haley and I, or that Haley is pregnant, and may be finding out for the first time here.
Yeah.
I have. Have you had the Jim Beam winter? Wait, Margot, you're contradicting yourself because you asked if I've had the Jim Beam Winter Jack. I'm assuming what you're meaning is the Winter Jack Daniels. I'm assuming that's what you mean. And I have not. Have you had that before?
I have not.
Okay. So, that was an awesome announcement. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, guys. We're very excited. Hopefully. What's wrong? Oh, it's
too high.
No. Don't ever. Always change it by the camera and not by the stand. Yeah, we're very excited. We were hoping that I completed the name. Yeah, Jack Daniel's Winter Jack. No, I have not. I've not tried that, Margot. Is it good? Have you tried it? But we were very excited. We've been practicing trying to have to get pregnant for a while now.
Hey,
and lo and behold.
Yeah.
Yes.
How come you still have the trophy? Are you not gonna give it up?
Oh yeah, I need to give up that trophy.
Bro.
I need to put the plaque.
Mr. Last Place or second to last or something.
Pump the brakes. Yeah, I do need it. I need to add the Brad Kendrick's plaque on there and then send it to him because he won it. Okay, let's get going. Let's go with the man gear.
Yeah,
let's get going.
I fixed my microphone.
Oh, good.
It took me a lot longer than it should have.
Cider flavored whiskey. That's interesting.
Weird.
I will have to try it though, Margot, based on your recommendation. And if it's terrible, I will be upset with you. I'm just joking. All right, let's roll one.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles, here with Adam Minahan. We're drinking some Silver Seal 16-year Highland whiskey.
Adam Minahan, father of 4.
What?
I said Adam Minahan, father of 4.
Yes. 5.
5, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
Miscarriages are tough.
Yeah.
Should we do an episode one time on miscarriages?
I think that's a great idea. I mean, it's something that I don't know remember what the stat is, but a
lot of people have miscarriages.
I don't remember if it's the majority or almost the majority of marriages.
Maybe we should have because miscarriages are hard. Hey, before we get going on the gear, I want to thank all of our new patrons. We've had quite a few new patrons. If you just signed up for the Catholic or the patreon.com/the Catholic Man Show, we will get new glasses and all your thank you gifts as soon as we can. Juan, Dave, and I spent from 5:30 to about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night one night last week.
I got home at just a little after midnight.
Yeah. We sent out like 172. Juan, is that right? 172, about 172 boxes of thank you gifts to people. So we want to thank all of you guys for supporting the Catholic Man Show. We're going to be continually adding new things. Everything that we get only helps the show. Dave and I don't take a cut of any of the profits. Also, if you sign up for the highest membership, which is the friends tier.
So when you came up with friend tier, you didn't at all pick up on the pun of like frontier?
No, I didn't.
Interesting.
But if you do, if you become a friends tier like Paul Day did,
thanks, Paul.
You can we'll shout you out on our show. We also pick.
We will do it, Paul Day.
Yeah, Paul Day. We will also interview, or actually have you guys interview us once a month. Have one guy from that tier interview us once a month. So that'd be cool. Anyway, thank you guys for supporting the Catholic Man Show. Patreon.com/the Catholic Man Show. Dave, the main gear.
Before we do that, I just want to make an announcement. That
announcement?
Well, currently, this is not. I think probably everybody knows this, but there's a movie out right now. It's called Unplanned. It's about Abby Johnson and her the big life event that she had when she left Planned Parenthood. And it is so important that we all go see this movie. It's doing very well in the box office, but
despite the Twitter. Suspending the account.
Twitter suspended the unplanned. The unplanned movie Unplanned had a Twitter page, and it got suspended the day of the release.
Right.
So anyway,
they did unsuspended the same day, but
but still.
Right.
Anyway, go see the movie.
Right.
Man gear for today.
Yes.
Is it? Did we decide? Is it the blazer or the sports jacket? I think the blazer.
I think the blazer, but I think we need to differentiate.
But I think it could easily be a sports jacket.
Well, okay, let's talk about it. So the man gear today is the blazer. There are 3 different types of jackets that men wear.
Yeah.
The suit jacket, the blazer, and the sports jacket. So, Dave, what are the differences between the 3?
Okay, so a suit jacket is a jacket that comes with matching trousers. That's what completes the suit. You have pants and a jacket.
Right.
Okay. I think everybody knows that. That's what a suit is.
And you typically don't wear the jacket without the pants.
Right. You can. People might not notice, but that's just a bad idea, because if you are in the habit of wearing the jacket apart from the pants, over time, the jacket will fade more and will no longer match the pants.
Okay.
And with suits, if the color is off even a little bit, you notice.
Right.
Okay? And it kind of will ruin your suit.
It really goes like when you think that there's no such thing as like different shades of black, there definitely is.
Yes.
And you will...
there are approximately infinite number of shades of black. So anyway, then... And a suit jacket, that includes everything from tuxedo is a suit to just your basic navy blue suit. So then the next step down in formality, what were you going to say?
No, go ahead. That's what I was going to say.
Would be the blazer. And a blazer is almost the same quality or the same level of formality as a suit. It just doesn't have a matching just has no matching pants. However, I think that...
Well, it's not the same as it's not the same formality.
Almost. No, it's a step down, but it's pretty close.
Okay. But you can wear a blazer with jeans.
Yes, you can. It does go with jeans. No doubt. But if something were formal, you could wear a blazer. A blazer would be appropriate if you wore other trousers,
like khakis or
yeah. Or just nice slacks. If you wore slacks and a blazer, that would fall into the formal category of dress. But I think that a blazer is often a heavier fabric. It also isn't going to fit quite as tight as a suit jacket will. You want your suit jacket to really fit very well. Not that it's skin tight on you or, hipsters these days.
Right, but more like the James Bond idea.
Exactly. That it is cut appropriately for your body type. It should accentuate the shape of a man's build, kind of the upside down triangle. That's really what you're looking for in a suit. So the blazer is going to be a little less fitted, and the reason for that is maybe you can wear a vest under, or a vest, or like a sweater vest underneath. Just because the blazer, maybe you're going to be
maybe it's cold outside
more, right? Yeah. If you're going to be outside a lot, you probably are not going to wear a suit. You might, but it's more likely. It's likely that you might wear a blazer instead. And so also I think you start to get into more tweed fabrics with the blazer. I'm not a big fan of making a statement with the pattern of a suit.
Okay. Like you mean like the crazy, sometimes they have the crazy
like checkered patterns
or Argyle. Is Argyle?
No, I don't know. I'm sure they make Argyle suits, but that would be really out there. But just...
What about pinstripe? Do you like pinstripe?
No, I do like a good pinstripe.
Okay.
I do like a good pinstripe. But when you get into like some of the weird... I like dark suits. I just think that lighter colored suits, and certainly...
Well, they're for summertime, right? Normally you wear a lighter color suit during the summertime.
You can, but really the dark... I mean, if you're going to get a suit, you need to get a dark suit. It needs to either be charcoal or navy. If you already have a navy pinstripe, a charcoal pinstripe, at that point, then I think you expand out into maybe a thinner fabric, summer, lighter colored suit.
Okay.
Maybe you could get a gray instead of...
Let's talk about the buttons.
Okay.
On the blazer.
So yeah, a blazer is often identifiable because the buttons do not match the color. So on your suit, the cuff buttons are going to be the same color as the fabric itself.
It's not going to stand out.
Right. It's not going to stand out. But a blazer is either going to have usually silver or gold buttons. And when it comes to the buttons on your suit, hopefully they're not plastic. I mean, nobody's going to really know, but a good suit's going to be made of bone. Horn, yes. And that's going to last a lot longer because your plastic buttons will definitely break. It's just a matter of time.
Right.
But they will wear out and they will break. Whereas the horn, it should last, as long as you don't, fall down and...
Let's talk about the novelty of the sports coat.
Okay.
Because I think that's interesting that I think in today's age, the sports coat is almost
jacket, yeah.
Or sports jacket is blended in with the blazer. Like there used to be a very distinct line. Now it's very grayed.
Well, right. There used to be very well-defined etiquette protocol, and that comes from, I think, our British roots. One of the things Britain culture did very well was have defined classes, defined activities with defined dress and behaviors and things, ceremonies, things like that. And I think all those things are good because they honor what it is you're doing, and it sets the mundane apart from the solemn.
So there's actually a virtue. It's called the virtue of decorum.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is dressing according to your state in life and the event that you're going to.
Right. But today, the average person is totally unaware of the fact that one thing might be more important than the other, and so everything is kind of devolved into more and more casual. Like, I'm a financial advisor. We're one of the few industries that still wears a suit.
You give advice for a living?
I do. I know. People pay me they want to know what I think.
Wow.
Yeah. But even in my industry now, a lot of the older guys, they wear golf shirts to work, and just like that's like dressing up. I don't think so. So I still wear a suit every day. But the sports jacket was originally for more of a hunting or those kinds of activities where you're going to be outside. So they fit even looser because it's going to be cold maybe outside, so you definitely would have a sweater on underneath or other layers.
They typically have they can have the elbow pad.
If you see an elbow patch, that's a sports jacket. But they're also made of more rugged material. They're the kind of thing that you would envision maybe falling in the mud. And when we say sports, it was really hunting, not like football,
right,
or soccer, or
shooting, skeet shooting,
right? Yeah, exactly. The upper class sports. So the sports jacket is nice, though. It's also almost always a lighter color. It's not the dark formal color. It's the outside lighter colors.
A place to get a good suit, if you're looking for a good suit. I've gotten one. I think you've gotten several from Indochino.com.
Indochino.com, yeah. I like them.
It's a nice fitted suit.
Yeah.
So when we get back, we're going to talk about the 8 daughters of lust, according to St. Thomas Aquinas. We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass. Margo, we did dress liturgically for Mass today. We did not dress liturgically today for our show, but what kind of jacket am I wearing? This is neither a sports jacket or a blazer. This is just a casual
that's just
jacket.
a jacket.
It's just like kind of casual jacket.
Almost a swacket.
Yeah, it's kind of like a sweater.
It's got like the sleeves are almost sweatery.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a swacket, but it sounds
weird also.
It's approaching the swacket.
It's just a casual jacket that I wear.
The more I drink it, I like it a little bit better.
One likes it a little bit more the more he drinks it?
It's like...
Actually, they can hear you, so I don't have to repeat what you say.
The finish is not as short anymore. It's a little bit more lingering.
Really?
Okay, so Matthew Covington is asking, where's the best place to get an off-the-rack suit or jacket fitted? So let me tell you this. If you're asking where should you go to get it tailored, I would just go to a tailor shop. Don't go to like Men's Warehouse or anything. They have tailors who will be able to do it for you, but I think you'll pay more and it'll probably take longer. And if you're looking for a suit, it depends on how much, like what your budget is for the suit. If you think, I wear a suit once a year, or I need a suit that I can wear to a funeral every now and then, and
wedding,
maybe to a wedding, and you just want to get a dark navy suit. Don't spend a whole lot of money. Go get one off the rack, get it fitted. But if you are going to wear a suit more often than that, then I would definitely get a custom made suit. Just because it used to be a lot more expensive, but you mentioned Indochino.com, and there's a couple other places now that do the same thing, where you send in your measurements, and they're not even sponsoring us. No, they're not. They do sponsor the Art of Manliness.
Right, and I meant to say that there's a great article on, I'll link it, but there's a great article on the Art of Manliness on different jackets. So,
But the reason I recommend that, okay, so Indochino.com, their premium suits, which are the ones I would recommend. I wouldn't get the basic ones. If you're going to get a suit, you should get the premium fabric because it'll last you years longer.
Right.
They're $750, $800, but there's always some that are half off. So you can get a really good suit for $350, where you might pay $250 at Men's Warehouse, but then it's going to cost you $80 to $100 to have it altered. So unless you just happen to fit right off the rack, this is exactly, you're the one dude in the world who fits a suit perfectly off the rack, then just get one custom made, because I love
me too. I'm
Indochino
about
suits.
to buy another one.
Yeah.
Need a tux for a potential fourth. I'm assuming for a potential 4th degree night. I'm assuming is what he says. You have a tux. Where'd you get your tux?
I got my tux actually from Men's Warehouse when we were renting at my wedding. They did this thing where if you have so many paid tux rentals, you can either get one extra rental for free or a $500 discount on anything in the store.
So I could have gotten one for free, but yet you chose to be selfish.
Yeah,
and use the
save $500. Yes, that's what I did.
So I had to pay for your selfish decision.
You were gonna definitely pay anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a new friend.
The price of friendship.
All right, let's roll. Let's
So
do
anyway,
this.
I got mine at Men's Warehouse. It was like a $750 suit, but I only paid $250 for it, so it was good.
Nice. All right, let's roll one.
But you can also get tuxes on Indochino.
Oh. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. Have a Catholic Man Show Glencairn glass with Silver Seal 16-year-old Highland Scotch. We're going to talk about the 8 Daughters of Lust from St. Thomas Aquinas. This is somewhat of a philosophical discussion. I'm not a philosopher, neither are you.
No.
So bear with us here. I think the best way to start it off is a maybe a story, like not a story, but a example of to get us going.
Okay.
So there's a man who is headed to a meeting. He's 5 minutes away from his business meeting. As he's walking to the meeting, he bypasses a pastry store, a bakery, and he smells delicious donuts being made. His lower powers, his appetites, says, "That sounds good."
Mm-hmm. The irascible appetites?
No, it would be the concupiscible
Oh, really?
appetites.
Okay.
But his appetite says that would be good, but he knows if he goes into the bakery, he will be late to the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, he bypasses the bakery to get to the meeting on time.
Okay.
So what just happened there? His higher powers, his intellect and will, overpowered his lower powers, which would be his appetite.
Yeah.
Now, when your appetites overpower your intellect and will,
Mm-hmm.
specifically in the sexual realm, St. Thomas Aquinas would say that is or at least my understanding is St. Thomas would say that is the definition of what the cardinal vice of lust is.
Okay.
So when
you don't often hear about cardinal vices.
right, okay, and we talk about virtue all the time here. The habitual doing good over and over again, the habitual act of doing good. Well, vices are the exact opposite, the habitual act of doing the bad.
Yeah, makes sense.
And
that's what a vice is anyway.
right.
I mean, it's not just like, oh, I did one bad thing one time. It's like, I always do this.
Right, I fall into this habit. So I was doing some research on a project that I'm working on, and when I came across St. Thomas's 8 Daughters of Lust, I was like, I had never heard of this. Did a little bit of research on it. I thought this would be a great topic for today. So, because the sexual powers are so they're so pleasurable,
Mm-hmm.
because sexual activities are so pleasurable, they dominate a lot of times our lower faculties, which would be our appetites.
Yeah.
And St. Thomas believes the sexual sin will more likely lead us to blindness or irrationality than other sins, because sex is of the greatest pleasures and absorbs the mind. So it dominates the mind. So, and you can see this all the time. Plato actually said that you find a man who is unjust, and it is the most unjust man is a man who is conquered by the vice of lust.
Yeah. Well, I think that makes sense, because the sexual powers of the person are like the engine. They're like the jet engine of a person. Okay. God made man to be the kind of being that gives himself to another.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we're made to do. In everything, in every relationship, friendship of all kinds, we are made to give ourselves to the other people. Okay, and so you take that to its it culminates in marriage, in the sexual union.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so God made us for this. This is what we're supposed to do. And so it's very easy to see how this very powerful force could overtake your will. But we know that when that happens, when your will and your intellect is dominated by your
appetites.
the lower passions, now you're a slave to yourself and
right.
to your
and similar
to those passions.
When St. Thomas talks about how when you increase in one virtue, you increase in all virtues.
Yeah.
It works the exact same with the other, because you're not being able to deny yourself. So if you're falling into the sin of lust, you'll be easier to fall into the sin of calumny or anger or something like that.
Calumny?
Yeah. Calumny.
Yeah, I know. It's a weird word. I don't like that word.
Yeah. But so it works both ways.
Yeah.
So
of course it does. That makes sense.
Right. So so he has eight daughters of lust, is what he called. The first four.
When I first saw this, I said, "Yeah, lust would have a lot of children."
Right.
Like not because it wanted them, but just it ended up with them.
Right.
Yeah.
So he has 4 that attack the mind, and then 4 that attack the will.
Okay.
So we'll go through maybe the first 4, and I think the first one is probably the most important to spend the time on, which is blindness of thought, which is the blindness of the mind.
Yeah.
Which I think you can see that totally in people who struggle with lust.
Well, absolutely. I mean, even the Big Bang Theory, they joke around about this all the time. That when one of the guys has sex with somebody, that he's dumb the next day. That it affects his brain, and he's not able to think anymore. And that you shouldn't have sex because you're not going to be you won't be a good scientist anymore. And so if even the Big Bang Theory knows this, then it must be true, because
right.
it's made its way down to even sitcoms.
Right. So if lust affects like your thought process, it affects how you view reality. You can see how, like, for instance, somebody who says, "I want to be an actor," but they're terrible at acting.
Yeah.
But they're so engulfed in the idea of being famous and making a bunch of money that they don't take the advice of their friend that says, "Hey, listen, man, you should probably pursue a different career than acting,
because you ain't good,
because you're not very good at it." But they're so engulfed in the idea of being famous and obtaining all this money that they don't take that advice.
Yeah.
Okay. So or like the alcoholic who continually enjoys getting drunk, falling into this vice of
or people who are in the cancer ward outside smoking cigarettes.
Right.
Which,
I mean, so it goes to the point where you're not willing to take any advice. You're so blind to the vice that you're in, and that's the interesting thing about lust. Is St. Thomas says the deeper that you get into the vice of lust, the more blind you become, to the point of you don't even realize that you are falling into this vice.
Yeah. And what I think is interesting is that we're talking here about lust. We're not talking about sex.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about that.
Because
I think that's a good point. Oh, we probably won't have time.
Well, I think we have time. When college guys are, all they're doing is trying to get laid. It does dominate their thoughts. And they forsake other things that they should be doing. Okay, I was once in college. And I just know that it has that dumbing effect on the brain, in that, I'm not thinking about these other things. And you'll hear women say, men only want one thing. They don't think with their head. And so it's like these are little social proofs of what we're talking about. But the married man does not suffer from these consequences. You know what I mean? And that's interesting. And I think it's because he's not pursuing it. He's not pursuing sex. He's married. It's not something that he has to spend energy on. And I don't think it's something that was actually intended to have energy spent on in this way. You should spend energy pursuing a relationship. And that relationship should bloom into a sexuality, sexual expression. But it shouldn't, we're putting the cart before the horse now in society.
I think that the lust comes from, the lack of the custody of the mind. We're creatures, and so you see something that is attractive and you want it because it's a good thing. The body is good.
Sure.
You even without thinking about it have some kind of thought of a sexual nature before you think about it. Still not a sin. Mm-hmm. Now, when you start entertaining the idea of that sin or start fantasizing about this idea of a sexual encounter or things like that, that's the lack of custody of the mind, which is where the sin comes in.
Yeah,
because it's the perversion of the good.
Mm-hmm.
It's perverting the good. It now becomes more of the inward instead of the outward. You're no longer wanting to give. You're wanting to have.
Yeah, to snatch, to take.
Right. So we only have 2 minutes. So let's go over the other three really quick.
Okay.
Rashness, which is the concern. It concerns the way the disorder of the sexual desire hinders the counsel what is to be done for the sake of the end. So it can blind you to the means of achieving those ends. So it's like, I don't care how I get it. I just want, and you can see these guys all the time, who struggle with the sin of lust. It's like impulse.
Right.
It doesn't matter how. I just need this.
Right.
They act on their appetites quickly. Mm-hmm. They get, it's and in order to counter that, you have to have the self-denial. You have to deny yourself in the little things to where whenever big things come up, you're able to deny yourself. And that's what that's why we're in this season of Lent right now. It's a denial of self.
Yeah.
The next one is thoughtlessness, the failure of the intellect even to attend to the means of the end, not even bother to think of the means or the ends. So again, it's just that
which is similar.
Yeah, which is very, very similar. But you're getting to the point where you're no longer thinking about anything else. Mm-hmm. It's just a complete thought. And I think that goes to just being completely absent-minded of anything.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's absent-mindedness.
Yeah. And the last one is inconstancy. It's like, again, we kind of already talked about it, but it's the lack of custody of the mind. It's being able to, it's dwelling on this idea.
Yeah, being swayed to and fro against your will even.
Right.
Yeah.
So, anyway, those are the 4 daughters of lust that attack the mind. When we get back, we're going to talk about the ones that attack the will. We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass. Juan raised it extremely high. I bet we have probably some questions there. Again.
Yeah, Margot.
Is it possible for a husband to lust after a wife? Yeah. Yes, it is.
Absolutely. But I would not say that lust is wanting to have sex. Maybe there's more context around that statement, but you can want to have sex, and that doesn't make it lust. The desire for sexual union is natural. So just because you desire that doesn't mean it's bad. But yeah, you can definitely lust after your wife. But I think that even the man who lusts after his wife wouldn't necessarily suffer from the blindness of mind that a single, like the college guy who's trying to get laid all the time. Mm-hmm. It dominates his thoughts, and he doesn't. Well, he doesn't think about other regular stuff anymore.
Right, and St. Paul even says in the letters of Romans, he talks about the depravity of the mind and the sins against against nature. Mm-hmm. So when you have sins against nature, if you disrupt the natural end, the natural union of marriage or the sexual nature, it messes with your mind. It's a depravity. You and I, when we first started meeting on Tuesday mornings.
Yeah.
I remember we had this discussion, and we hadn't really read St. Thomas Aquinas, and we hadn't really read up on this topic. We just had a conversation, and I asked you, I said, do you think that there is a link between men who struggle with lust and a lack of being able to understand certain concepts, thoughts, philosophical ideas, theology in general? Is there a relationship there?
Yeah. Well, I would say that there is. I would say, though, that more likely, though, the lustful man is also the lustful married man is also viewing pornography and other things that could be the real issue intellectually. Because in this scenario, and it's just me thinking about it right now, but the lustful man is not it's not going to occupy his mind because he's married. He knows he can go home and have sex. He doesn't have to find it or chase it or pursue it. You know what I mean? So just in that one scenario, but let me see what else was there.
Let me read this really quick, just because it kind of piggybacks on what we just said. Hence, indulgence in disordered sexual behavior has a tendency to impair one's ability to perceive the true and the good, particularly in the matters of sexual morality. In short, sexual vice makes you stupid.
Yeah.
That's Dr. Edward Fazer.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think that kind of articulates what we've been trying to say.
Yeah. And Margot said, well, it's wanting to have sex outside of the married union. Once again, depending on how you mean, like, if it's like, you know what, I want to have sex and not be married. That would be...
Well, you can lust after your wife.
Right, yeah, but when she said the desire to have sex is lust. And then we said, no, that's not it. But in Margot, I still say that's not quite it, because you can not be married and have the desire to have sex. The desire in and of itself is never going to be lust. It's going to be when those desires become the end, when you take those desires and make them more than simply a desire, when you begin to entertain them and turn them over in your head, and when you see the lust is receiving an inordinate pleasure, an inordinate pleasure from the desires. Okay, so instead of having that desire properly ordered, it would be disordered because you're seeking a pleasure from the desire itself when the pleasure, when the desire is not intended or ever made to be pleasurable in and of itself. The desire is simply something that points to the ultimate end of sexual desire. But lust truncates that all in that scenario. So I would say that the desire in and of itself is never going to be lustful.
I think that's what
in and of itself,
right? I think that's what St. Thomas is saying, that because we are creature, we were made for that. The idea of desiring it is a good. It's not an evil. Like, we're not Manichaeist. We're not Manichaeans.
We're not Manichaeans.
Which we're always saying that the body is bad. So it's
right.
Good. But when you dwell on it, you can have like I said, the lack of custody of the mind. Like, so entertaining these ideas. I mean, even like we were saying with the wife, you could have lustful thoughts of your wife, where you're entertaining these ideas,
right,
in your head of sexual nature, that isn't pointed toward the end, which is a sexual union of one man and one wife.
Right. Yeah. And so if you're a man struggling with that, custody of the mind begins with custody of the eyes. So if you don't have custody of the mind, then
I would say custody of the appetite in general.
Well, sure, but that's part of it. Custody of the eyes is a custody of a visual appetite.
Sure, but I was saying, like, in general, like, not just the eyes.
Yeah. No,
smaller things outside of just the eyes.
I agree, but very often custody of the eyes is the direct root, or the direct problem. That certainly somewhere to start. So you must first take custody of the eyes. And Thomas Aquinas, he talks in certain places about how to treat different sins. Some of them need perseverance, and so like some of them you just need to endure the temptation. But lust is not one. He says, from lust you must flee. That's how you learn to battle it. In the beginning, you
don't
run.
Entertain it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't deal with it at all. You get away from it.
Right. I mean, if you think like, yes, that's how you do. I mean, you don't allow yourself to look at certain websites. You don't let yourself allow yourself to think there's certain thoughts. And because it's a snowball effect. It's like one thing leads to the next thing, which leads to the next thing, and all of a sudden, it can lead to being impure with yourself. So
Yeah.
I think
On the custody of the eyes,
yes.
something that we went through in the deacon study. So Samson, he had a really hard time just with desires. So so many times in the Bible it says, and he looked at it and he wanted it. You know that they couldn't touch dead animals because he was a Nazarene.
Yeah.
But he saw the honey in the mouth of the dead lion, and he wanted it so bad he just went to get it. But so I think that was what you were getting to in the custody of the eye, being like when you just focus on something and you just keep on desiring and desiring and desiring, just looking at it, and it feeds you this.
It distracts your mind. You continually allow yourself to be distracted. Again, that's the definition of having the custody of your mind. You realize, no, I'm being distracted by something that is not of God. I need to get rid of that. I need to move on.
Yeah.
Or even if you're like buying something and you look at something and you keep finding reasons to want. Oh, I could get it.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I could. If you just keep looking at it, but if you spend 30 seconds just walking around the store and you don't look at it, then you all of a sudden maybe I don't need it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Kathy Nunick, I just want to correct something you said. Very good. Lust in and of itself is not bad. That's not accurate. Lust in and of itself is bad. Sexual desire in and of itself
is not
bad.
Because
lust is a disordered sexual desire.
Right.
So once you have allowed yourself to pervert sexual desire into lust, it has now become bad.
Okay.
But you can't lust on accident. Lust is not something that just happens to you. It's something that you must make the choice to do. Okay, so that's the difference, is that you might have, in fact, some of the saints have talked about this. When they begin to achieve very high levels of holiness, they are often afflicted with terrible sexual thoughts that are just present themselves to their mind. They're not coming from them, but they're being tempted by very perverse sexual thoughts. So just because something is a disordered sexual thing doesn't make it lust. You have to take the choice. I mean, because that's what sin is.
Right.
It's not just something that happens to you. Like sexual desire is just something that you might feel. It's when you act inordinately on that sexual desire.
Which is why so many saints, have had heroic virtue in order to conquer these lusts and take heroic actions in order to, you have to try to get your mind off of this. So they do, like some people do very heroic things to make sure that doesn't happen. So
and I think that St. Thomas. Okay, well I'll say this when we get back on the show.
Okay. Let's roll up.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles. Here with Adam Minahan, a.k.a. The Tongue. We're talking about lust and all the 8 daughters of lust. This is something put out by Thomas Aquinas, and I think that Thomas Aquinas is really the expert on sexual sin.
Well, he actually expounds on this, believe it or not, on this from St. Gregory the Great.
Really? Okay.
So this wasn't his thoughts on, he only expounded upon these 8 daughters of lust from St. Gregory the Great.
Well, I think that he is a reliable source for everything, but especially the realm of sexuality, because he was one of the few saints in history who was given a gift, a grace, a very unique, special grace of God, where he did not struggle with sexual temptation.
Yes. I mean, that's why he's the universal doctor of the church. So pretty much.
But everything. But, his parents, he wanted to become a monk. His parents locked him in a tower, and they sent a prostitute in there to try to seduce him, and he chased her off with like a hot iron, and he carved a cross, burned a cross in the door, and then that night he received a grace from God. He said, "You will never be tempted with sexual desire again." And so I think that makes his writings on the subject even more credible, because the further away you get from a sin, the more accurately you can see it.
You no longer have the blindness of mind.
Right, yeah. And so because this was something he did not struggle with at all, I think it gives him clearer vision on the twistedness of it.
Right.
Okay.
So we just discussed last segment on the 4 daughters that attack the mind. Now we can go into the 4 that consist of the attacking of the will.
Yeah.
And the first one is self-love, which is very, I mean, to me that's very obvious.
I have that.
So self-love is
Eche homo.
is the thoughtless. It's a thoughtless person that entirely sunk into their disorderly pleasures. So it almost encompasses all of the appetites of the mind, or the attacks of the mind, and manifests itself into this self-love or this attack of the will.
Yeah.
Dr. Edward Fazer says the mind is corrupted by lust. The mind corrupted by lust wants to make reality conform to itself rather than to make itself conform to reality, which I think is hence the very idea that there is such a thing as natural, objective moral order, especially where sex is concerned, becomes unbearable to the lustful person.
Yeah.
And I think that you can see that with men and women who struggle with lust. It seems like one degree of sexual disorder never satisfies the appetite, and so they go deeper. There's
never, or for long anyway.
For long, yeah. And so it seems like that they continue growing deeper and deeper into this disorder of sexual desire.
Yeah, I think it's important to say that this is what sin always does: is it takes a good that man was created for and to be, and twists it into something perverse. So in this case, man is made to make a gift of himself. And now he is making a gift to himself in this self-love of, I now serve myself instead of using myself to serve others.
Right, because the sexual embrace is it's giving of yourself to your wife, but it's also a procreation act. It's unitive and procreative.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's nothing to do with you. It's all about giving of yourself to your wife, and also to potentially a newborn baby.
Only a servant,
or a new baby.
Only a servant, a true servant, can truly make love. If you're not a servant, then you're not doing it right.
Well, yeah, I mean, because that's loving one, willing the good of the other, desiring to lay down yourself, like Christ says, lay down yourself like he did for the church, to your wife. Christ died for the church. Men, you're supposed to die for your wife. In Ephesians it talks about this. So I mean, it's the whole self-sacrificial love. Anything else you want to talk about self-love before we go on to the next one?
No.
So the next one is hatred of God. So we had self-love, but the next one is hatred of God, which is, it sounds a little harsh, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds harsh, but if God is being itself, if it is goodness itself, if he is goodness itself, then the hate of what is true and good, ipso facto means that it's a hatred of God.
Yeah. No, I think you see this play out all the time in hatred of religion, which religion is just the worship of God, and so people will literally, sexual sin has caused millions of people to leave the church.
Well, yeah,
because the church won't let me live my life the way I want to live it, so I'm just going to leave.
Well, our mother said in Fatima that more sins go to hell because of the sins of the flesh than any other sin.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that at all. In fact, this kind of goes back to the blindness of the mind, but over and over and over again, and I don't mean to make this political, and I don't mean this about every liberal in general, but I have known many people who were not just a liberal, but they were very extreme in their liberality. And when I've had conversations about, why do you think that? Why do you think that? Why do you think that? Over and over again, it has always come back to a sexual sin in their life that they're justifying. And that's weird to me that it would play itself out in that way. And that's just in my experience that I've had with several people. But that's what it does. And you end up becoming an atheist because of these sexual sins in your life, because they become your God.
Well, again, you're conforming reality to yourself instead of yourself to reality.
Right. Yeah.
I do want to mention this. I'm paraphrasing from Dr. Edward Fazer, who's expounding on this, but he says, if someone knows that he is chained to the sins of the flesh, yet still loves God and wants to be free from these sins, his love is sincere. So I think that's very important to understand that, even if you're falling into these sins of lust, yet you want to be freed from it, it doesn't mean that you hate God in and of itself. That means that you're falling into a sin, but your love is sincere if you want to conquer the sin. Yeah. It's also very important to understand that, if I want to go to Ireland, there's a difference between I want to go to Ireland and I intend to go to Ireland. Right. If I want to go to I want to go to Ireland. That doesn't mean I'm planning on going anytime soon.
Right. Yeah. But me too. I'm not saving money to get there, but
but I would like to go. Yeah. But if I intend on going to Ireland, that means I'm taking steps to making sure that I'm going to go to Ireland. Similarly, we should not want to be saints, but we should intend to be saints. Right. And what does that mean? That means you have steps that you're taking to make sure that you are becoming a saint through the grace of God. I mean, it's not through us, but there's a difference between wanting and intending, and I think we need to make sure that we understand that there's an importance there.
Yeah, and also just because you might struggle with sins of lust, that doesn't mean that all of these are going to be you. Right. Only a few of these might play themselves out in your life. But I think that if you give yourself over to the sin of lust, it is only a matter of time before all of these will play themselves out. You know what I mean? Like if you say, I'm not going to fight this fight anymore.
Well, you fall into despair.
I'm just going to be a lustful dude,
Right. Well, and so similarly, he says, but if someone loves his desires and sins and doesn't want to turn away or listen to those who urge them to turn away, his love is not sincere. Yeah. Which, I mean, makes sense. That's hard-hitting truth. Yeah. Is what that is. Anything else that you'd like to discuss on hatred of God? Okay, so the next one is love of this world. So excessive and disordered love of the lower powers is not natural. We talked with Carlo Broussard not too long ago on one of our episodes, and he was talking about, again, that we drink for its goodness, right? I mean, on the show we drink for its goodness, but it is a lower power good. It's a lower appetite good, right? Which is one of the lowest levels of good. The power of appetite or power of mind and will are the higher appetite powers. I'm sorry, are the higher powers, and so. This is a lower level good, and if you get so deep into these lower level vices, then you love this world, which is not what we're made for. We're made for the glory of God. We're made for the kingdom of God. Yeah. And so it's very hard to keep your mind focused on the kingdom of God if you're so absorbed in the things of this world. Right. It's the whole be in this world but not of this world. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right. Yeah, and you see that all the time on the news and just modern day culture where people will be freaking out about stuff. But if you step back and say, well, from their perspective, if this life is all that there is, all of a sudden, whatever it is that, okay, like the whole college scandal, people like rich people paying extra money to get their kids into college. I mean, that's wrong, obviously, but I didn't think it was this huge, it's like, didn't everybody know? Or I kind of assumed, like, yeah, I'm sure that happens all the time. But from the worldly perspective, this is egregious because, this world is, if this life is all that there is, you get one shot and you didn't get into college. I mean, the rest of your life could be altered, Right, so it becomes a much bigger deal.
Right. So Edward Fazer says, people who are a slave to the lower powers are disinterested and incapable of seeing the beauty of the next life and what we were really made for. Yeah. Which this is the importance of fasting, right? We're in this liturgical season of Lent, which is it's this denying of self. And whenever you deny yourself, you realize all the necessities that are needed in this world outside of yourself. Yeah. So I think it's important to fast. It's important to abstain on Fridays. And those are the 8 daughters of lust.
There they are.
Hopefully we made a little bit of sense.
They're ugly daughters.
The last one was despair of this future world, which is what we just
Basically
discussed.
the same as loving the current world too much.
So, we're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
And cheers to Jesus.
Whew! We made it through. I was hoping we were going to make it through it all.
Yeah, perfect timing.
I think...
I didn't thought you were gonna make it.
You didn't think we were going to make it through?
Yeah, I'm proud of you guys.
Thank you, Juan.
That's because David didn't speak much.
Well...
You are the rabbit hole guy.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we made some sense. I prayed very heavily on this topic because there's so much philosophical language and ideas to this, and we're not philosophers. I'm not personally, and it's hard for me to. I can read something and be like, "Yes, I understand that. That all makes sense." And then it's like, "Well, repeat what you just said in your own words." And it's like, "Nope, can't do that. I don't know. I don't know how to say it." So I was praying that we'd be at least that we'd be articulate in this concept of the 8 daughters of lust. Hopefully we were.
Well, at this point it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it is.
It's in the books, folks.
It is in the books. So, anything else that we need to discuss?
Thanks everyone for watching. Does anyone have any last few questions? Dude, did you know Kevin Sweeney is Sean Donovan's cousin?
No.
I didn't know that either. He just messaged me. He's like, "Yeah, I saw you had my cousin on." It's like, "What?
Who's your cousin?"
He said, "Father Sean Donovan."
I had no idea.
Impressive.
I would like to have Father Sean Donovan as my cousin.
Yeah. Apparently, he was Kevin's confirmation sponsor and fencing instructor. What?
Wow. Go deeper on the 3-hour Carlo show. 3 hours of Carlo. Hey, it would be very easy to have a 3-hour conversation with Carlo. You know how Matt Fradd does his Matt Fradd show?
Dude, let's do one when he's here.
Dude, no. You don't understand how much prep that takes to have a 3-hour conversation.
I could do it.
I'm guarantee you could do it.
I mean, we could do it.
Depends on what the topic is, but I think there's a lot of things I could talk to someone for 3 hours about.
Right.
Like myself.
I say we give it a try. A first for the show.
I don't know about that.
When is he gonna be here?
He will be here June 30. No, May 31st. So, anyway, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. Hopefully, it was helpful. It was more of me fleshing out the ideas that I was trying to understand in this topic. Like, I read it and I was like, man, this would be a great. Anytime you have 8 of something, it's like that's perfect for our show. 4 for the third segment, 4 for the fourth segment. That makes a great show.
Right.
And so I was like, this would be great. And so really, I wanted to do the show for selfish reasons, just to flesh out these ideas that I'd been reading about with St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah.
So.
Did it work?
It helped me, yeah, for sure. Because
you're trying to flesh out your thoughts on lust.
Lust, yeah. So. Okay, guys, appreciate it. Cheers. Give it a second. It's trying to